All set? Hi there. Today we are at the Equine Affaire in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm here with Rick Lamb, my first grade teacher. You look amazing.
Well, you turned out pretty good yourself there, dear.
Thank you. So what's been going on?
Well, we're busy as always. We just finished Road to the Horse. You were
Yes,
there.
that was so much fun.
Fantastic, unbelievable marathon event, but really had an incredible turnout there with the audience and the horses and the people, and just quite an exciting event. And of course, then we go from there right into expo season. So and here we are.
You have a busy season this year?
Fairly busy. You know, we do this, and then we've got a sweep up California. We're doing several TV shoots over there, and ending up at Light Hands Horsemanship in Santa Ynez, California. It's one of our favorite events each year.
Okay, and what is that? What is that?
Well, that is a very small expo, and I don't know if I'd even call it an expo. It's more kind of like a cross between a clinic and an expo, and I call it linear in that we come to an event like this, there's like 80 things you could be doing at the same time.
Yeah.
You kind of have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
That's an event where there's a starting presentation and an ending presentation, and you go through and you see everything.
That way you don't miss anything.
So the downside of that is that there's only so many people that can come to it. It's a fairly small event. It's on a private ranch, but we've been doing it about 5 or 6 years now, and I've been lucky enough to host it each year.
You host quite a bit of programs, don't you?
I do.
You're kind of a big deal about campus, aren't you?
Nobody else wanted the gig, I guess, so I take it.
You do it for the money? You do it for the love?
I do it for charity, for the love of the horse. Yes.
Right, of course you do. So tell us about your radio show.
Well, the radio show was really my foray into the whole horse industry. I started that in 1997. And that was a way to sort of diversify the recording studio business that we had going at the time. We made commercials, radio and TV, or primarily radio commercials.
For RFD or?
No, this was long before RFD even existed. This was just, we had a commercial recording studio in Phoenix. Ad agencies would come in, and that's how I met my wife. She's a commercial voice talent, and we did that for a long, long time, and we got tired of kind of waiting for the phone to ring sometimes. It got a little bit slow, so we thought, what could we do? So we started dabbling in well, you have to take that into account.
Right.
And we had done some work, some just production work for other radio shows, syndicated radio shows, so we kind of learned how that business worked. And we realized that the problem a lot of them had is they couldn't do their own production. They had to hire people like us, and that got kind of expensive.
Yeah.
So we thought, we could probably do this on our own if we could just think of a topic that I was interested in talking about, and that I could then record and produce in the studio, and instead of doing it live. So we decided to do that, and it was my wife's idea to do it about horses, because that hadn't really been done. Most of the radio shows were about relationships or health or something, or politics.
Yeah.
And so
Nothing
we wanted
fun.
Well, not for me anyway. I wanted to do something that I was passionate about, so we started the horse show.
Mm-hmm.
And we had remarkable success from day one.
It's really good. I check in quite a bit, actually. It's very good.
Well, it's unusual in that it's a syndicated program, meaning it's on all over the country. And normally what happens when somebody syndicates a radio show is they start in their hometown and they build up a local audience, and they might add a second city or a third. We started out from day one with 9 radio stations in 8 cities around the country. So
You've been
from
doing
day
it
one,
since then?
ever since then, and for a specialty kind of a niche program, that was a remarkable thing to have happen. We didn't even realize how unusual it was at the time.
Oh.
And then what happened with the radio show, that was a long-form interview format show, and we got a lot of interest in stations that just couldn't clear that much time in their schedule, so we made a little short version of it called the Horse Show Minute. And a couple of years later, and that's been on since 1999.
Wow.
And that was how I got started.
Was that before or after you wrote books?
That was way before. That was how I got started in the horse industry, was on radio.
Okay.
And I'd never been on radio. I just started from nothing. I just started this radio show and sent it out to stations, and for some reason they picked it up.
Yeah.
They picked it up.
Yeah.
And then that allowed me to kind of start getting in and doing some more things, and I hosted Clinton Anderson's tour for 4 years, from 2003 to 2006, and I learned so much from him. I mean, that was a real intense learning time for me, and that kind of got me thinking about, well, I could probably write a book. And Dr. Miller and I got to be good friends.
He's a great guy.
And he had such a phenomenal idea about this revolution in horsemanship, the term for it, and how he analyzed the whole thing. And he told me about that, and I said, Bob, you got to write this down. And he said, I've written a lot of books. I don't have the time to do that. I want to do other things. And
You
so I
gotta
said,
share that.
I said, what if I do the heavy lifting on this? You just do the chapters that you want to do, and we will share the writing credit. And he said, sure. So I found a publisher that was interested, and that happened.
It's history.
And we did that, and the following year I came out with my second book, and then my third book in 2008, and in between I got on television. And everything's kind of happened since then.
Yeah. And you've been hosting the Road to the Horse since its
very beginning,
haven't you?
You bet.
Yeah.
2003 was the very first one.
How did you feel that this went this year? I mean, Tootie kind of outdid herself this year, didn't she? How's she going to top this?
Well, that's the question we always ask. But I don't know if everybody knows who Tootie is. Tootie Bland and her late husband Stephen are the ones that conceived of Road to the Horse back in probably the late 90s, early 2000s. And their idea was that, we've strayed off the path to real horsemanship. So we want to get back on the road to the horse. That was the idea behind the title. And originally they used the Spanish version of that, which I can't say it very well, but it was El Camino de Caballo. And they've kind of since gone back to just the English way of saying that. But they wanted to have a competition that did not compromise the welfare of the horse, that it was always putting the horse's welfare first, and felt that we could have an interesting competition that really allowed these clinicians who were out there talking the talk to see if they could walk the walk.
Exactly.
And that was the original concept.
And you were there at the beginning, and they were first held was it in Texas in a parking lot or something?
Well, there was an event before the first Road to the Horse.
I think, was it called?
It was called In a Whisper, or the Whisperers Challenge, and it was really meant to be a documentary production, a documentary about this phenomenon known as horse whispering at the time. Natural horsemanship, basically. And so that was kind of a staged thing. It was outside. It was in the square in Fort Worth. Very, very hot summer day.
I saw the videos.
And that was the initial germ of the idea. The people who put that on were partners with Tootie. They kind of went their separate ways, and then she and Stephen started Road to the Horse in 2003. December of 2003 was the first one by that name, and that was in Fort Worth. It was in the Coliseum there.
I think it was the same place that we had the Project Cowboy, wasn't it? Is that the
I
same
didn't go
facility?
to Project Cowboy, but it's. I'm trying to think. It's not the Cow Palace. It's the.
I don't remember the name of the Coliseum, but my daughter was also a participant
it's an old
in that.
one. It's a classic.
It was very,
How did she
very
do?
fun. She did really, really well, actually. She was the first woman to sign up. She was the youngest competitor, and after the fourth round, I think she was in 13th place.
Wow.
She actually beat Mike Majors in several rounds,
Whoa.
which was pretty cool.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, she did really, really well,
Good for her.
yeah, she's doing really well now.
But we moved very quickly after that. I mean, that first Road to the Horse there, it was in December, bad time of year because people are all busy.
Yeah.
It was in Fort Worth, which is way off the beaten track for a lot of people that are in the north and eastern part of the country. And there was a great big cutting event that same weekend. So I did a little TV interview with Tootie, and I said very diplomatically, we didn't have a great turnout. And she said, "Oh, you're being way too kind. Nobody came."
Oh,
and when you
geez.
see footage of this, you see the stands kind of behind, the close-up of the guys working the horses, and there's like all these empty seats.
Oh, geez, you don't want that.
So it was a real.
Now it's sold out.
It was it was a leap of faith, I guess you would say, for them to say, we're going to try this again. But we're going to try and be smart about it. We're going to move it up to where it's more accessible to people. And they moved it to Tennessee, and the Tennessee Miller Coliseum, where it was then held there for another 7 years. And that proved to be the point where people got it, and people started coming, and it just had its own
momentum. They come back year after year, because I know I've been there several times.
And it's now sold out every year, and that's why we're moving to
Kentucky.
Lexington.
Yeah,
to
that's
the
going to
Kentucky
be fun.
Horse
That's
Park,
going to be fun. Is that a bigger venue there?
It is.
Bigger? Okay.
It is. It was built, I believe, as part of the preparations there for the World Equestrian Games in 2010. It's called the Alltech Arena. And it was designed, I haven't been on the inside. I've walked by it a bunch of times. But it's very kind of stadium seating with very kind of steep sides. So every seat is a really good seat. And it was designed for horse events like this. And so I believe the sound system is supposed to be really
It's going to
good.
be
and
horse friendly.
horse
And
friendly
people
and
friendly.
audience friendly
Yeah.
and friendly, I
Friendly,
guess.
friendly.
So we'll find out.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I've already got my tickets.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I
Can't
will.
tell you who's going to be there, but
And I know we have
it's
no
going to be
idea,
good.
but Tootie's going to pull something out of her
Yeah,
hat, I'm
she always
sure.
does.
Thanks so much, Rick, for talking with us
pleasure.
today.
Thanks
Awesome.
for
Good to see you
you
again.
bet.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Awesome. Yay!